I'm restoring a 1968 Datsun 520 pickup truck. We're on episode like 24. My deadline is September the 15th to get this thing roadworthy on the road. If you're new, get caught up. There's a playlist in the description below. I am the one and only infamous Kentucky Yankee without a doubt. At your service. Clock's ticking. Let's get to work. Parts all painted and ready to go back onto the truck. So let me show you something real quick. Who was that guy? Let me show you something. Let me show you something. He was on a TV show and he'd say that he was a fire marshal or something. Anyways, this gas tank has imperfections on it. Let me zoom in for you. Can you see that there? See how it's rough looking? That is not from me not cleaning the gas tank up good. That's not rust or crust or anything like that. This is how that happened. I was painting and it was hot. I used reducer that was medium and I used too much of it. So the sealer was going on very, very dry. I poured it to it so that it would lay it down flat and smooth, and it did. The sealer looked really nice. I moved on to the paint. I used slow reducer instead of medium. And I sprayed it just the same as I was the sealer. I was pouring it to it. So I made runs. I tried to get the runs out with some tape. That's what you're seeing here. And then I said, I'm just gonna spray over the top of it to finish up the job. Now, what to do about this? Mostly the gas tank, the frame, all that stuff is just being painted black to seal it and so it doesn't rust, but still I'd like for it to be pretty. Will I fix it? If I do, it'll cost time and money. What should I do? I could sand it down, repaint it, or I could take some undercoating and just spray the bottom of it and that would hide it. And what will I do? Not sure yet. Most likely, leave it alone. Remember, this is not a show truck, and if this were a body part, then yes, I would redo it. Slip a torsion bar in, the first one. I shouldn't have put it all the way in there. I gotta put this end on here first, and I marked it. So, let me line that up. Perfect. Need more light, but you can see it's lined up. Now we'll slip her into place. Hope I don't scratch all the paint off of it. Something I didn't show you on the other side. A bolt has to go into this hole from the back side. You can't get it in there without taking this back out. So I've got to do that now. Nothing fun about redos, but it happens. Luckily, this is no big deal. Time for this brace to go back on. I may have made a mistake. I had to take this side loose. All I had to do is pull it out of the splines, and I did mark it up there in order to get this bracket on, but it looks like it will slip on now. Another redo, but at least this was a really simple one. This whole truck is held together with nylon locking nuts. That is a really good deal too, especially for 1968. Reusing them is probably not a good idea. They're probably not as effective as they were, but I still think they're gonna hold. They feel like it anyways when I go to tighten them up, so they'll be fine. We're off one. There we go. Look at that huge difference in these. That one's got a lot of room. This one doesn't, but I thought I marked them right. I couldn't figure out why this nut was going down. This bolt has so many more threads than this side. I forgot that I got new bump stops, and I had this one in there. See that? I was testing it to see how it fit. That brings the A-arm up higher and gives more room for the threads. Or no, I think we'll do the opposite. I better get these installed now before I tighten up the torsion arms. They even came with nylon nuts. We'll fine tune that later. Once everything's together, the body's on it, weight's on it. Boy, those feel pretty good. I thought we would stick a shock on here. It'll start looking like a front end then. Kind of have to laugh. These are the most generic looking shocks I've ever seen painted black like that. I didn't do it. That's the way they came. They also came with 2 nuts on the top, and the original equipment had 2 nuts. So that's kind of cool. It's got this one, and then you know how they got a smaller, thinner, like a locking nut. Originally the bolts are this way with a nut in front. I don't know why it's like that, but both trucks, all 3 trucks are that way. Typically, if you got a bolt head, I like to stick it this way. That way stuff doesn't catch on it. But since it was this way originally, I like to go back the way it was. Yeah! In spite of these being the cheapest shocks known to man, they seem to be of pretty good quality. Would you just take a look at that view? She's starting to look like a truck. Time to bolt this piece on, and what is this called? It's an idler arm. And the reason I bring attention to that is because I made a TikTok and a YouTube short, and people were confused on what this part was called. Some people thought it was this. This is called a steering gear. Others thought it was this, and that's a pitman arm because it bolts on to the steering gear. Some people are learning, and I don't mind helping them out. Not everybody's a grease monkey like myself. They don't make things like this anymore. This right here has a bushing in here that you could replace, a brass bushing. So you could continue to use all this part, and new ones are not made that way. You just got to throw them out. I'm putting a new seal on here to hold the grease in, and this is how it goes together. And you just screw it together. Chevrolet S10s too, and Blazers, by the way, you can tighten those up by screwing them in and out. But you can't replace any bushing. You got to buy the whole entire part. This is really good quality to me. This will fit just like this. We got new paint everywhere in this truck. Happy days. So this right here was rusted on the inside. Inside the tubes it's got rust. This one over here on the outside was rusty really bad, and I decided I'll clean that one up, change the brackets and things over, and make this one work because I'd rather have the inside rust free than the outside. Cleaning it up after a while, getting the brackets off, I thought I inspected it good, but apparently not good enough because there is a rust hole here that I popped through. Could I patch it? Yes. Am I going to? No. This, all the hours spent on this cleaning it and wire wheeling it is been wasted. I'm going to clean this one up. I'm going to put it in the dip tank. That way it can get all the rust out of the tube down in here and clean it up. Why didn't I do that to start with? Because the acid will etch the metal, and it just, look at the inside of this one. That's why. Look. The inside was like nearly perfect. So I just thought that was a better route to go, and I was wrong, and there's a lot of time wasted, and I have a deadline of September. I drilled this piece out right here because this one is rusted down to where it doesn't have a lip on it anymore, and I'm just going to weld it on over here. There's different ways of doing this. I can't go into explaining why I did it, but I thought this was the best, quickest thing to do. All welded up. Now I'll dip it one last time real quick just to get the surface rust off before I paint it. Our axle housing has been sitting here with muriatic acid in it. It's filled to the top. I plugged up both ends of the housing and filled it. Now I'll spill it out of there and we'll take a look, see how it cleaned up. Just wanted to look before it goes back together. It's cleaned up pretty good. I'd like to have done a little better on the outside. The inside is spotless, and I put WD-40 in there so that it wouldn't flash rust. Now I'll put the pumpkin back in it and it will be nearly ready for paint. First and only wheel I've cleaned up so far. This gasket can go on any way, it spins any way it wants to, and the housing has no cutout for the gear. I think this is an older model. The new ones have a cutout where the gear goes so you don't get mixed up, because I think you could put this chunk in upside down. I am not going to. I checked it out and made sure that I'm going to put it on right, but you could spin it around any way you wanted to, I guess, in that hole. Yeah! Goes this way. Ah! I hope I have made mistakes in the past. That part's done, and again, I'll clean everything up the best I can, hang it, and we will paint it. Time to get this stuff inside. I did get this one wheel painted, the inside. Again, the outside's going to be white. Came out pretty good. I really like the color. I have got to show you guys this tailgate. Check it out. I got such a bargain on this thing. It has hardly any rust at all. It does have some small dents, but they'll come out easy. Whoever took it off got the cut-off wheel and the tailgate a little bit. No big deal. I'll weld that back up. This gate is just in such wonderful shape. If you guys have looked for one, you know how hard they are to find. This is 56 years old. Backside view, and I'm going to show you the very bottom too, because this thing is amazing. Can you see that? There's just hardly any rust at all on this thing. I know the hinge a little bit, but see, I'm going slow because I'm so impressed with the condition of this tailgate. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. I was so caught up in trying to get my truck done by the deadline, September 15th, that I almost passed this tailgate up. It was 3 hours away in Knoxville, Tennessee, and I had to drive there and back, so it's 6 hours, then another hour just for talking to the guy and stopping a time or two, so it's 7 hours. It killed a day. Although when I did get home, I did work for a few hours. I didn't get enough done, and that's why I'm having to cut this video a little short this week. I did get a whole lot done, but I'm not able to film any more to show you guys. Stay with me, more to come next week. I am the one and only infamous Kentucky Yankee without a doubt.